The sky above Earth was quiet, almost peaceful. Ethan had just returned home from his usual work in the city's small engineering lab. He enjoyed routine, the rhythm of human life, the simple pleasures of breakfast, fixing machines, and taking evening walks. But tonight, as he entered his modest apartment, he noticed something unusual. A soft, glowing light flickered through his window. Curious, he approached. Outside, floating a few feet above the ground, was a strange, sleek craft that shimmered like a pearl in the moonlight. Its surface rippled as if alive, and its shape was unfamiliar to any aircraft Ethan had ever seen. Then, without warning, a section of the craft opened. A figure stepped out, tall and graceful, with skin that glimmered faintly under the moon. Her eyes were large and bright, reflecting colors that Ethan could not name. Ethan froze. "Hello," he said, his voice trembling slightly. Who are you?" The figure looked at him with curiosity. She spoke in a melodic voice not fully human. Her words were clear, but her tone carried a formality Ethan had never heard. "I am Lyra, I am sent to you." "Sent to me?" Ethan repeated. "By who?" Lyra tilted her head slightly. "It is not your world's concern. I am here as punishment." Ethan blinked. He wanted to ask more, but the sight of her was overwhelming. She carried herself with elegance, yet there was a strange tension around her, as if she were both proud and afraid. "Punishment? For what?" he asked cautiously. Lyra's eyes shifted downward for a moment, almost like she hesitated to speak. "I questioned my people. I challenged their rules. I disobeyed." Ethan's heart beat faster. He had seen science fiction stories about aliens, but this was real. "And so they sent you to me." "Yes," Lyra replied simply. "You are my guardian." The word sounded strange in Ethan's ears. He looked around his apartment, feeling inadequate. He was a human, ordinary in every way. Yet somehow he had been chosen to take care of this alien being. For the next few hours, Ethan tried to help Lyra settle in. She seemed fascinated by everything: his furniture, his books, the kitchen appliances. She touched objects lightly, sometimes asking questions he could barely understand. "Why does this object produce heat?" she asked, pointing at a toaster. Ethan laughed nervously. "It makes toast. Bread goes in and it comes out warm and brown." Lyra studied it carefully, curious, primitive but effective. It was clear that she considered humans simple, yet she had a quiet respect for their practical solutions. Over the next days, Lyra began learning about human life. She watched Ethan work in his small lab, repairing machines and solving problems. At first, she found it strange that humans relied on trial and error instead of precise logic and advanced technology. But soon, she began to see something remarkable. Ethan's creativity, his ability to think quickly under pressure, and his determination to solve problems no matter the obstacle, it fascinated her. One evening, as they worked on fixing a small malfunction in a generator, Lyra spoke softly. "Your people, you adapt quickly. You find solutions even when you lack knowledge. That is not like my civilization." Ethan wiped his hands and smiled. "We have to adapt. Life doesn't wait for perfect plans. You make the best of what you have." Lyra nodded slowly. There was a softness in her expression that Ethan hadn't seen before. She was learning, and perhaps, in some way, she was beginning to respect humans. But not everything was easy. Lyra struggled with human food. She had never tasted bread or fruit before. The flavors were overwhelming at first, and she often hesitated to eat. Ethan found it both amusing and challenging to teach her the simplest human habits: how to drink water from a cup, how to tie shoelaces, how to use a fork. Still, despite the small frustrations, a bond slowly formed. Ethan found himself looking forward to Lyra's questions, her curiosity, her laughter. And Lyra, she was beginning to enjoy the unpredictability of humans, the way they could make mistakes and still find joy. One day, a strange event occurred that shook both of them. A small spacecraft from Lyra's home world appeared in the sky. It hovered silently above the city, sending a low hum that vibrated in the air. Lyra's eyes widened. They have come to observe me. Ethan felt a sudden surge of protectiveness. Observe you? What do you mean? They are my people. They judge me. They will decide if I return or face further punishment. Ethan realized the gravity of the situation. This was no longer just about teaching her to live on Earth. This was about her freedom, her future. Over the next few hours, they worked together to hide Lyra's presence from the public, moving her carefully from one safe location to another. Ethan was amazed by her agility and intelligence, and she, in turn, began to see his courage. Humans, she realized, were not weak. They were clever, brave, and resourceful in ways her civilization had never valued. During this time, small moments brought them closer. Lyra watched Ethan fix an old robot in his lab, carefully replacing parts and improvising when things didn't fit. She saw his patience, his focus, and the kindness in the way he treated his creations. "You care for your machines," she remarked one evening, "like companions." Ethan laughed softly. "I guess you could say that. You have to care for what you make or it won't last. Life is a bit like that too." Lyra studied him, a faint smile forming on her lips. There was something about humans, she thought, something beyond logic and rules. They had heart, they had courage, and somehow she felt safe with him. Days passed. The Xyler observers remained in the sky, watching. Lyra was tense, worried that any mistake could end her time on Earth. Ethan tried to reassure her, but he himself felt the pressure. He was a human, ordinary, yet now he carried the responsibility for someone extraordinary. One night, while they watched the stars from the roof of his building, Lyra spoke quietly. "Your people, you are not like my civilization. You are different, strong even when small. Clever even when simple. I did not expect this." Ethan smiled, feeling both pride and curiosity. "Humans survive because we try. We fail, we get up, we try again. Maybe that's all strength really is." Lyra's gaze lingered on him. For the first time, she felt a connection, not just of duty or observation, but of respect and something more. But their peace did not last long. The Xyler envoy made its intentions clear. Lyra had a choice: return immediately or face exile, a punishment far worse than anything she had imagined. Ethan knew he could not let her go so easily. He saw what humans had that Lyra's civilization underestimated: courage, empathy, and the ability to act decisively when needed. He decided silently that he would show them that humans were worthy, that Lyra's choice to stay was justified. Lyra, meanwhile, wrestled with her own feelings. She had come to Earth as punishment, but now she was learning, growing, and beginning to see the beauty in humanity. She admired Ethan's heart, his patience, his courage. She felt something unfamiliar: hope. And perhaps in the quiet moments of the night, something like friendship or even affection. The night grew quiet again. The city below slept, unaware of the extraordinary visitor in their midst. Ethan and Lyra stood together on the rooftop, looking at the stars, knowing that the coming days would test them both. One thing was certain: Earth and humans were not what Lyra had expected. And Ethan, ordinary as he seemed, was about to show her a kind of strength that would surprise even her own people. And so, the story of an alien girl sent as punishment to a human, and the human who would change her life, began. The morning sunlight filtered gently through the window, illuminating the small apartment where Ethan and Lyra had spent the last few weeks. The alien girl had begun to adapt more to Earth life, but every day brought new challenges and new lessons. Today, however, the calm morning would soon turn into one of the most testing days for both of them. Lyra stood near the window, her glowing eyes fixed on the horizon. She had been restless all night, thinking about the message she had received the previous evening. The Xyler Dominion had sent a warning. She had limited time to return, or her punishment would increase. The thought weighed heavily on her. She did not want to leave, yet she feared the consequences of defying her people. Ethan entered the room holding a cup of steaming tea. "Morning," he said softly. "You didn't sleep well again?" Lyra shook her head. "No. I think too much." She paused, looking at him with a small, almost human expression of concern. "Ethan, do you think humans can be strong enough to face beings like my people?" Ethan smiled gently. "Strength isn't always about size or power. It's about heart, courage, and thinking fast. Humans may seem small, but we survive because we adapt. We try when others fail, you'll see." Lyra considered his words. Perhaps there was truth in them. Perhaps humans were different in ways her civilization had underestimated. Their day began with work. A small malfunction had appeared in the local power grid, caused by one of Lyra's experimental devices that had accidentally released a minor energy pulse. The humans nearby had been unharmed, but the device had the potential to disrupt the city's electrical system if left unchecked. Ethan examined the device carefully. "It's strange, nothing I've seen before," he said, turning it over in his hands. Lyra stepped closer, her hands moving gracefully over the device. "It is delicate. One wrong move and it will shut down completely or explode," she said calmly. Ethan blinked. "Explode? That doesn't sound good." Lyra gave a faint smile. "Do not worry, I will guide you." For the next few hours, they worked together, blending human creativity with alien knowledge. Ethan improvised tools from ordinary household items, while Lyra explained the principles behind the device in careful, patient words. She watched in amazement as Ethan solved problems using methods she had never considered. "You think differently," she said finally. "You see solutions where logic would not reach. That is remarkable." Ethan laughed softly. "Humans survive because we have to. We can't wait for perfect conditions. We make the best of what we have." The device finally stabilized. A soft hum replaced the threatening energy pulses, and the city's power returned to normal. Lyra looked at Ethan with genuine admiration. "You are strong in ways my people do not value. I did not expect this." Ethan shrugged. "I just did what needed to be done." As the days passed, the bond between them grew stronger. Lyra began to enjoy small pleasures she had never experienced before. Tasting earth fruits, feeling rain on her skin, laughing at simple jokes. Ethan, in turn, found himself fascinated by her knowledge, her grace, and the way she approached life with a mixture of curiosity and discipline. One evening, Ethan suggested they take a walk in the park. The city was quiet, the sky painted with the soft colors of sunset. Lyra walked beside him, her steps careful but confident. "You like this place?" Ethan asked. Lyra nodded. "Yes, it is peaceful. Your world is simple yet full of life. Humans find joy in small things. That is beautiful." Ethan smiled. "I think that's why we survive. We notice what's good even in hard times. We make life worth living." Lyra looked at him, a faint warmth in her eyes. She felt a connection she had never felt before, not duty, not obligation, but something deeper. Perhaps it was trust. Perhaps it was friendship. But their peaceful moments were interrupted by a sudden alarm from the device they had repaired earlier. It began to emit an unstable energy signal, brighter and louder than before. Ethan's eyes widened. "It's not stable. We need to fix it, now." Lyra's hands moved quickly, guiding him. "We must combine your adaptability with my knowledge. Together, we can prevent disaster." For the next tense hour, they worked side by side. Ethan improvised tools and used his hands to redirect energy, while Lyra calculated precise adjustments to stabilize the device. Sparks flew, lights flickered, but they did not falter. Finally, with a final adjustment from Lyra and a clever fix from Ethan, the device calmed. The hum returned to normal and the city lights shone steadily once more. Lyra breathed deeply. "You saved this place. Humans truly are capable of extraordinary things." Ethan smiled, tired but proud. "We do what we must. That's how we survive. That's how we thrive." After the crisis, they sat together on the rooftop looking at the stars. Lyra's expression was thoughtful. "I do not want to return to my people. Not yet. Earth, your world, has taught me much. I wish to stay." Ethan's heart leapt. He had hoped she would feel that way, but hearing her say it aloud was more powerful than he could have imagined. "Then we'll find a way," he said quietly. "We'll show your people that humans are strong, brave, and clever. You belong here if you want to." Lyra smiled, a rare, soft smile that illuminated her alien features. Perhaps humans are not so primitive after all. Perhaps they are worthy. Over the next few weeks, they faced smaller challenges together, helping neighbors with mechanical problems, preventing minor accidents caused by Lyra's unfamiliar devices, and learning to communicate more deeply. Each task strengthened their bond. Lyra's respect for human ingenuity grew, and Ethan's admiration for her courage and intelligence deepened. One afternoon, Lyra asked a question that surprised Ethan. "Ethan, why do humans form bonds with one another? Why do you care for others so deeply, even strangers?" Ethan thought for a moment. "Because we know life is fragile, we survive together. We help each other because it makes life better for everyone. That's what makes humans strong." Lyra pondered his answer. "Your species is wise in ways my people do not understand. Strength is not just power. It is empathy, creativity, courage, and love." Ethan looked at her, his eyes softening. "You understand humans better than most of my people understand themselves." Lyra blushed faintly. She had learned much about humans, and yet every day brought new surprises. She had begun to feel emotions she had never felt before: trust, hope, and perhaps something more. Something she could not name, but that made her heart beat faster whenever she was near Ethan. But the tranquility did not last. One morning, a message from the Xylar Dominion arrived, transmitted directly to Lyra's device. The message was clear: return immediately or face exile. No further warnings. Lyra's expression darkened. She had grown to love Earth, to respect humans, and especially to care for Ethan. Leaving now felt impossible. Ethan noticed her distress. "Lyra, what is it?" She showed him the message. "They demand I return or face exile. Exile would end me. I cannot go back, not now." Ethan's mind raced. He knew the Xylar Dominion was powerful, but humans had something they often underestimated: the ability to think creatively, to act decisively, and to fight for what was right. "We'll show them," Ethan said firmly. "We'll prove that humans are worthy, that you belong here if you choose. I'll help you." Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining with hope and uncertainty. "You risk much." Ethan shook his head. "It's not about risk, it's about doing what's right. Humans survive by standing together, and I will stand with you." That evening, they prepared for the approaching challenge. Ethan studied the patterns of the Xylar observation signals, devising a strategy to demonstrate human ingenuity. Lyra shared her knowledge of Xylar technology, guiding him with precision and patience. Together, they created a plan that relied on both their strengths: Lyra's advanced knowledge and Ethan's creativity, adaptability, and courage. It was risky, but both knew it was their only chance. As night fell, the city below slept unaware of the extraordinary alliance forming above them. Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, ready to face the judgment of Lyra's people, determined to show the Xylar Dominion that humans were more capable, brave, and clever than anyone had imagined. And so, with courage and hope in their hearts, they stepped forward into the night, beginning a journey that would test their skills, their bond, and the very nature of what it meant to be human and to be extraordinary. The night sky over the city was alive with strange lights. Far above, a Xylar fleet hovered silently, their ships glowing faintly against the stars. Lyra stood on the rooftop beside Ethan, her glowing eyes reflecting both worry and determination. This was the moment that would decide her future and the fate of her new life on Earth. "They are watching," Lyra said softly, her voice tinged with unease. "If I fail, they will take me back. Exile would be worse than punishment. I cannot risk it. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We won't let that happen. We've come too far. Humans are clever, adaptable, and brave, and so are you. Together, we'll show them. Lyra nodded, drawing strength from his words. She had come to trust him more than anyone else in her life. He was ordinary by Xyler standards, but to her, he was extraordinary. His courage, kindness, and quick thinking had already changed her perception of humans and of herself. The Xyler envoy transmitted a message, their voices calm but cold. Lyra, return immediately. Failure to comply will result in permanent exile. Humans are unworthy of your time. Lyra's hand tightened slightly around Ethan's. They underestimate humans just as I once did. Ethan smiled faintly. Then let's give them a lesson they'll never forget. Together, they moved to implement their plan. The objective was clear. They had to demonstrate human ingenuity and courage in a way the Xyler Dominion could not ignore. Lyra would provide insight into the alien technology, and Ethan would improvise, creating solutions that the Xyler observers would not anticipate. The first challenge came quickly. One of Lyra's experimental devices, which had been partly responsible for attracting the Xyler attention, began to emit unstable energy pulses, threatening to overload the local city grid. The humans below had no idea what was happening, but a failure now would confirm the Xyler's prejudice. Humans were too weak and unpredictable to manage alien technology. Ethan looked at Lyra. We can handle this. I trust you. You trust me. Lyra nodded. Yes, let us begin. For the next tense hour, they worked side by side. Ethan used every bit of his engineering knowledge and intuition, creating makeshift tools, redirecting energy, and improvising solutions. Lyra monitored the device, providing exact calculations and adjustments. Sparks flew. Lights flickered. Energy crackled in the air. The situation was dangerous, yet neither of them panicked. They relied on each other's strengths. Lyra marveled at Ethan's ability to think quickly under pressure, to adapt when something unexpected happened. She had studied humans for weeks, but even she was surprised by his courage and creativity. Finally, with a combination of her precise guidance and his clever improvisation, the device stabilized. The hum of energy returned to normal, and the city lights shone steadily once more. Lyra exhaled in relief. You did it. Humans truly are capable of extraordinary things. Ethan smiled, exhausted but proud. We did it together. That's how humans survive. That's how we thrive. The Xyler observers were silent, clearly surprised. They had expected failure, yet here was undeniable proof that humans could handle even advanced alien technology with skill, courage, and ingenuity. Lyra knew it was time for the next step. She activated a communication link to the Xyler fleet. Her voice was calm, yet firm. Xyler Dominion, observe closely. Humans are capable of more than you imagine. I choose to remain on Earth, not as punishment, but because I have learned their value. They are strong, clever, and worthy. There was silence on the other end. The Xyler were clearly taken aback by her confidence. Ethan stepped forward. Lyra's right. I am a human, ordinary by your standards, yet together we solved problems that could have been catastrophic. Humans survive by thinking creatively, acting courageously, and helping each other. That is our strength. The lead Xyler envoy spoke after a long pause. Your claim is bold, yet the evidence cannot be denied. Humans possess qualities that our calculations underestimated. Lyra, your choice will be respected. Lyra felt a surge of relief. The judgment had gone in their favor. She turned to Ethan, gratitude and admiration in her eyes. You helped me help them see. Humans are remarkable. Ethan smiled softly. You taught me too, Lyra. You showed me that courage isn't just human or alien, it's the same everywhere, and that heart matters more than power or rules. For the first time, Lyra allowed herself to relax completely. She had come to Earth as punishment, uncertain and afraid. But now she had found freedom, respect, and something even more precious, a partner she trusted deeply. The Xylar Dominion formally recognized Lyra's choice to remain on Earth. They praised humans' ingenuity and courage, acknowledging that their species had been underestimated. Lyra's defiance had shown that humans could rise to challenges with intelligence, adaptability, and moral strength. With the conflict resolved, life slowly returned to normal. Lyra continued to explore Earth, learning and laughing alongside Ethan. They spent time repairing machines, studying the stars, and discovering the small joys that humans often took for granted. One quiet evening, as they watched the sunset from the rooftop, Ethan turned to Lyra. "You know, you've changed my life too." Lyra's glowing eyes met his. "And you have changed mine. I came here as punishment, yet I have gained so much more. I have learned about humans, courage, and love." Ethan smiled warmly. "Then maybe we should make this official." Lyra tilted her head in surprise. "Official?" He reached out, holding her hand gently. "I want to marry you, Lyra, not because of rules or duty, but because I want to spend my life with you, if you choose, of course." Lyra felt a warmth she had never known. Her heart, once bound by the rigid rules of the Xylar Dominion, now beat freely. "Yes," she said softly, a smile lighting her face. "I choose you, Ethan, always." They decided to hold a small, quiet ceremony on the rooftop under the stars. Friends from Earth gathered, neighbors, colleagues, and curious humans who had helped them in small ways. The sky above was clear, and even a few stars seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating the union of human and alien. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. Ethan and Lyra exchanged vows, promising to support, respect, and care for each other. Lyra's alien heritage and Ethan's human spirit blended seamlessly, symbolizing a new bond between their worlds. As they stood together, hands intertwined, Lyra looked up at the stars. She thought of her home planet, the rules she had once feared, and the lessons she had learned on Earth. She realized that humanity was not just a species, it was a symbol of resilience, courage, and heart. Ethan squeezed her hand. "We've come a long way," he said quietly. Lyra nodded. "Yes, together, we have shown that humans are extraordinary, and now our journey continues." In the weeks that followed, Lyra integrated fully into Earth life. She used her advanced knowledge to help improve technology in ways that benefited humans, always working alongside Ethan. Together, they solved problems, created new inventions, and inspired others to see the potential in human ingenuity. The Xylar Dominion continued to observe, but now with respect rather than judgment. They saw humans differently, capable, clever, and courageous. Lyra's choice and the partnership she formed with Ethan became a symbol of hope, cooperation, and the boundless potential of humanity. As time passed, Lyra and Ethan became known not only for their inventions, but for the story of their partnership. People across Earth were inspired by the tale of an alien girl sent as punishment, and the ordinary human who proved that courage, creativity, and heart could change the galaxy. Lyra often reflected on how much she had grown. She had come to Earth uncertain, confined by rules and expecting punishment. Instead, she found freedom, love, and admiration for humans. She had learned that strength was not about rigid power but about adaptability, morality, and the courage to face challenges together. Ethan, too, had changed. He had always believed in human potential, but now he had witnessed it firsthand. Humans were not just survivors, they were thinkers, innovators, and hearts capable of extraordinary things. He had never imagined that helping an alien girl would expand his understanding of life, courage, and love so profoundly. Together, Lyra and Ethan continued to explore, invent, and inspire. Their marriage was not just a union of two hearts, it was a testament to the strength and potential of humans. The story of their partnership spread across the galaxy, a shining example of HFY, humanity rising through courage, creativity, and compassion. And as they stood together under the endless night sky, watching the stars twinkle in silent celebration. Both knew that this was only the beginning. Earth had shown Lyra the beauty of human life, and together they would face whatever challenges came next, proving that humans, ordinary yet extraordinary, could achieve greatness beyond imagination. The galaxy had underestimated humans, but now, through the courage, love, and ingenuity of one ordinary man and one extraordinary alien, the truth was clear. Humanity was capable of greatness, and its story had only just begun.